Hi, and welcome to the third video in our PowerShell Universal for Beginners series. In the last video, as we can see here, we created a static endpoint. And what that is basically every time that you call that endpoint, it is kind of a result that you should know what to expect. There's no input that we're accepting from the user. And where PowerShell Universal and API endpoint generally really start to benefit the end user is when we can actually start taking input. And one of the simplest ways to be able to do that is by using a variable URL or a variable endpoint. And what that is, kind of similar to what we did in our last video where we did users/list users. In this case, what we're going to have is /users/getUser/ and then we're going to be taking in the username of the user that we want to get. So it's going to be very dynamic, and we don't necessarily know what the user is going to put in. They could put in any username they really want to get back. What you can even do further on is then use query strings and bodies to take in variables. We're going to be seeing those in future videos. We're going to be starting off with one of the simplest ways to take in that variable, which is just those variable endpoints. So let's go ahead and let's actually get started. So we're going to create our endpoint here, and it's very similar to our last video on how we're going to create this endpoint. The URL, we are going to use users, so /users/getUser/. Now this is the part that's actually important. What we have to put in here is a colon, and then the word username or anything that you want to name your variable. So whatever comes after the colon, that is going to be the name of your variable in this instance. And then the description, we're going to say get a specific user. And for the path here, what we're going to do is we're going to do a ./users/get-user-variable.ps1. And this is just going to dictate that this is the get user using a variable endpoint, because we're going to be doing the get user by query string and by body as well in the future videos. You're going to notice that once we get into the body, we can take in a bunch of different variables, but in some circumstances, just doing a variable endpoint or a variable URL is going to do the job. So what we're going to do is we're just going to make sure that we go ahead and disable the authentication because we haven't seen that yet. For the execution, we're going to want to make sure that we select our PowerShell 7 here, and then we're going to click on OK. And here we can see our URL, which is users/getUser/username. Now, if we actually go in edit code here, and before we actually insert the code, let's just go ahead and let's look at the test tab here. You're going to notice that there's the option for username that pops up, which is what came after the colon. So that is our variable. And we can actually put anything in here. So if we actually just put in test here and then hit invoke. Now we don't have any code that's going to run. So it's going to have success because it doesn't really matter. But you're going to notice that our route had gotten the word or the name test added at the end because that's what we put in for our username. That is just something to keep in mind because it does come in handy when you're going to be maybe making PowerShell modules to make this available for your end users or making any type of documentation for someone to use your API endpoints. So now what we're going to go ahead and do is we're going to go back to the code and we're going to write our code that we want to be able to return the specific user for our user. So one of the actually easiest ways to just test this out real quick is, once again, I like to just simply return something really easily just to be able to see what comes out of it. So one thing you're going to notice is we have our variable colon username. Now, how do we actually reference that? We can actually reference that using the $username. So what we're going to do is we're just going to do a return $username here, and we're going to hit save. We're just going to hit test here. Now, if I actually do this invoke, we're going to see that we get test back. If I put admin in here and hit invoke, we get admin. So we know that we are able to fetch our variable correctly, which that is the main part of this video, is really being able to go and fetch that variable that the user is putting in. So let's go ahead, let's erase all this code, and let's go ahead and let's actually get started with what we actually want to do, which is get the specific Active Directory user with that username. So what we're going to do is we're going to create a variable called user. We're going to make that equal get AD user. We're going to put the parameter of identity, and we're going to put our $ username in here. And then the properties, all we're going to do, all we really want in our case is just the name, SAM account name, and enabled. So let's just go ahead and let's put the enabled in here, because I don't believe that comes back by default. And let's go ahead and let's put server, and we're going to put jacked.local, as that is the name of my domain. You would just replace that with the name of your domain. And then what we're going to do is, like I've said in the other videos, I always like to create a variable called result and return that result. It just keeps it very nice, clean, and standard for what I'm returning. So we're actually going to create our variable called result here. And in the last one, we returned an array. So we actually created the result variable as an array. This time, because we know we're actually getting back a specific user, I'm just going to make the result equal that PS custom object. So let's go ahead and let's do PS custom object here. And we are going to create our object, and we're just going to put name is equal to user.name. SAM account name is going to be equal to user.SAM account name. And then enabled is going to be equal to user.enabled. And then all we're going to do is we are going to return that result here. And then we're going to hit save. Now let's go ahead and let's actually test this route out. So let's go ahead and let's do test here. And let's put in a name that I know actually exists in our Active Directory. So we're going to put in jacked admin. And we see that jacked administrator is the name of that user. The SAM account name is jacked admin, and the enabled is equal to true. Now, if we actually go ahead and let's put in test here, this is actually a user that does not exist in my environment, and we go ahead and hit invoke, we can actually see here that we get an error, and we get client error, which is 400, cannot find an object with identity test at script block number line 2 and then line 1. Now this is actually very, very messy. I would not want this to get back to the user. I kind of want to make sure that I handle that internally in our routes. So let's go ahead, let's go back into the code here. One of the easiest ways to actually handle that with PowerShell, of course, is the try catch statement. So what we're going to do is we're actually going to wrap that entire block of code here in our try block, and then we're going to go ahead and we're going to do a catch with another set of curly brackets. And what I like to return in the catch is actually very, very simple. Is I just usually return the $_ because when you're in the catch, the $_ represents the actual error that got caught by the try catch statement. And then we're going to do a .exception .message, and this takes the exact error message that you get back, but just cleans it up and just returns the actual error message. And we're going to see what that looks like. So we're going to hit save, and then we're going to hit test, and then we're going to hit invoke again. And there you go. So now we actually got a success of 200, but we actually got back cannot find an object with identity test under the our domain here. Now, what you can actually do even more, if you really wanted to, you can easily put in a return. You can return an object and do something like this. So if we go ahead and create a result variable here and make that equal a PS custom object, put that in there. And then what we can actually do is add a return code, for example, and do 400 or 404 as an example. And then let's go ahead and let's do message. And for our message, we're going to do our exception dot message. And then all we're going to do here, instead of return and return in here, all we would do is add our return result at the bottom after our try catch. And then all we can do here is do a code or return code up here as 200, as we know that that is going to be good. Let's hit save. And then let's go test. Hit run here. And here we can actually see that we get the return code with the message. Now it does look a little bit uglier because it kind of loses that formatting when we do it this way. But if we do our jacked admin, you'll see that we get a return code of 200. Now the only benefit to adding a return code is if you have modules that are running off of this code, it is a little bit easier to detect if it was a success or if it wasn't a success. Now there are tons of different ways that you can do this. I personally still, for simple routes like this, I like to just do the return exception message. And then in your module or anything like that where you need to actually catch that, you can easily just say, if the remaining result is starts with cannot find, you would know that that failed to find the user. So there are tons of ways to not have to use return codes, but that is something that people will commonly do in API routes. We'll be returning an object regardless, and then you return the actual status of your API call in there as well. This way you make sure that your routes never actually error out unless it's something that you've never caught before, but you can easily run a bunch of different tests. Now you might be wondering, why would I want a route like this? So let's go ahead and let's just hit save here. Let's go to test and let's go into the code thing, the code tab here, and let's go ahead and let's copy this line of code here. And what we're going to do is we're going to go back into our Visual Studio Code and let's just paste that in here real quick. Now what we're actually going to do is this is just my host computer here. If I do a get AD user with the identity of jacked admin with the server jacked.local here, if I try to run this code, I get an error because I do not have the Active Directory commandlets installed on this computer. But what we can do now is I can actually provide a script to somebody that would have a variable called username equals read-host, and then our prompt is we would say enter a username, and then in our invoke rest method we're just going to change the single quotes to a set of double quotes. We're going to erase the username that came in here, put a variable wrapper, and put username in our variable wrapper. So we're calling the username from our read host, passing that in. And now if we actually go ahead and run this code, it's going to ask me to enter a username. Now if I put jacked admin, hit enter, it's going to call that route and it's going to give me back the results that I actually want. And again, if I run the code now and I put test here, we're going to get back cannot find an object with identity test under the domain. So as you can see, this is extremely useful because now this gives me the ability on this computer to actually query the Active Directory server without even needing the tools on my system. So this is where, especially in a work environment, you can have a PowerShell Universal server sitting with all of your tools that you actually need. And then on your endpoints, you can actually reduce that bulk install that you actually need. You don't need to install all those tools, and you can securely, because if you're installing the Active Directory tools on someone's computer, maybe you don't want them to have access to everything that's actually there, even though you can limit them technically in their rights of what they have access to in Active Directory. Maybe you only want them to have access to really see a very select few fields. And this is a great way to do it and give them an ability to maybe reset a password or anything like that. PowerShell Universal is just a great tool in order to give people access, or if you want to make something that fetches data from a database, you can easily do that, and you don't have to install, again, the SQL Management Studio on that person's machine. You would just do everything in PowerShell Universal, create a route that is very sanitizes the inputs. You don't want any SQL injections, and then it goes and fetches that data. So there are tons of different applications for creating all of these routes, and we're going to see a lot more applications, especially once we get into those more complex endpoints that we're going to be creating in the next videos. So you're going to want to make sure you stay tuned for that. Also, if there's anything that you guys want me to look at specifically in PowerShell Universal, please let me know in the comment section down below, and I'll do my best to get to every single one of them. But you're going to want to stay tuned for those next videos with the query string and taking in a body through an endpoint as well. Be sure to hit that subscribe button, hit that like button. Also, be sure to hit that notification bell to be notified when those next videos come out, and I will see you guys on the next video.